Hi, I'm Guna Mathivanan. Welcome to Simply Current Affairs. So before going into today's editorial discussion, let us finish the feedback for the question which I gave in the last class. Analyze the impact of US federal rate changes on emerging markets like India. Discuss the strategies India can adopt to mitigate its susceptibility to these hikes and enhance its macroeconomic resilience. So, in the introduction, you can mention about how the US Federal Reserve rate, whether the increase or decrease, is having a significant impact on the economic stability of India. Okay, so if you want, you can hide the recent context. If you want to mention the recent context, you can mention the recently also the Federal Reserve has reduced their policy rates by 25 basis points, which is having an impact on Indian markets. Okay, so mention the context, highlight that there is a significant relationship between their monetary policies and India's economic stability or emerging market, including India's economic stability. Okay, or if you want, you can give other introduction also that too much of dependence on dollars has made the emerging markets economy stability vulnerable with the change in the policy rates introduced by the Federal Reserves. Okay, so anything, highlight the context in the introduction part. Okay, then you can say here, analyze the impact. Analyze the impact means positive and negative impact. Put a subheading. When Federal Reserve increases the policy rates, how India will be impacted. When Federal Reserve reduces the policy rates, how India will be impacted. So you try to give that both perspectives, right? So when America is increasing the policy rates, India will be impacted, negatively impacted. When they reduce the policy rates, India will be positively impacted. Okay, so now the context is we are going to have a positive impact because they have reduced the policy rates. But however, when they increase, we will be affected. When they decrease, we will be gained. There is a volatility here. So we have to find some strategy to protect ourselves from these external volatility, or else we will be more dependent on them and we will be more vulnerable for their policy rates. So we have to find a route to ensure that we are protected from the damages which that policy rates volatility can cause. So highlight the positive, highlight the negative, and give a link point. Give a link point for efforts to mitigate these risks. Okay, and then give the conclusion. That's all. We have discussed in these lines only in the last class. So I thought many would have written a decent answer, but very few have addressed the answer holistically. It's 15 marker question. Very few has addressed holistically. Very few. But one person, okay, Ranjit, has given a very good answer. Okay, he has addressed all the points. He has given the link points as well. Just I have one comment on Ranjit's paper. I will explain that. So, US Federal Reserve policy has become one of the major external driver of the macroeconomic condition of emerging economies like India. The US federal rate has both positive and negative impact in the following ways. Great. Okay, this is what is called as link line in the following ways. So from there, we are able to go to the next subheading. So here, I read it, everything conceptually you are correct. So the rate hike reduces the interest rate differential between US and India, thus leads to capital outflow. Capital outflow will weaken the Indian rupee against the dollars, reduction in forex reserve, imports will become costlier because rupee will depreciate, inflationary pressure, because rupee depreciates, imports becomes costlier. So right, so next is impact due to the reduction in the interest rates. So there will be capital inflow, there will be more investment, because investments will become more lucrative because of our advantage, right? Then the dollar inflow will strengthen India's forex reserve, appreciation of Indian rupee, reducing current account deficit, investment and expansion of business. All points are fine. Then you have given link line, okay, a link paragraph you have given. But this continued volatility due to external shocks will make Indian economy more dependent and less resilient. This is very important. Okay, just simply putting subheading and going to the next part is not correct. I think one or two students have written this link point, right? So this link point, then from there you have gone to the strategies to be adopted. Okay, strategies is also fine, everything is fine. Say for example, we have to internationalize rupee, we have to expand our domestic capital market, bring in more FDI, boost our exports, okay, improve our domestic production and consumption. All are fine, but this part can be expanded. My only observation is this part can be expanded because, see, look at the question. Wait a minute. Yes, look at the question. So one entire part of the question talks about strategies. So maybe for this strategies part alone, we could have given a little more weightage. Okay, that is the only thing. So you have given 5 points, maybe 7-8 points on strategies could have been better. That is the only thing. Apart from that, everything is fine. Then finally, a combination of sound fiscal and monetary policy along with the prudent structural reforms will make India immune to external shocks and thereby reassuring its long-term economic resilience. Very good answer, very neat answer. Okay, you are writing well, man. I mean, I have observed, Ranjit, right? You are writing well. Your handwriting is also neat. So prepare well, all the best. Right. So now we will go to the today's editorial analysis. So today we have taken editorial topic from the Hindu. The topic deals with the missing link with respect to critical minerals strategy in India. See, recently the government has approved a new scheme for producing and manufacturing permanent magnets, rare earth permanent magnets, for which government has allocated 7,000 plus crores. So what is this rare earth permanent magnet? As the name says, these are permanent magnets, strong magnets. These remains a strong magnet permanently without the help of any electric field. And these are produced from rare earth elements. Rare earth elements are 17 elements which are called as rare, not because it is rare. The extraction is very difficult. Okay, only promethium, one of the 17 elements, promethium is actually rare. The remaining are available, but extraction is difficult. Okay, so India wanted to improve its production capacity of rare earth permanent magnets to counter China, because 90% of these are coming from China. China is known for refining critical minerals and also the permanent magnets. So we are too much dependent on other countries, particularly China. To counter this, India wanted to ramp up our domestic capacity. See, this rare earth permanent magnets is very important for clean energy transitions, for say for example solar related products or wind turbines, defense products, automotive products. For all these things, this rare earth permanent magnet is very, very important. Okay, so now what is the current strategy which India is employing? So we are primarily focusing on extraction of critical minerals, mining of critical minerals, mining of rare earth elements. We mine and we export the products which has been extracted. See, though India is not having sufficient amount of critical minerals, for example, cobalt, nickel, lithium and all, nothing we are having, 100% we are importing. Entirely we are importing, but still we have critical minerals like copper, tin, zirconium. So we also have some around 7 critical minerals which we are trying to focus on extraction and we export it. The authors of the article, they are highlighting that we are not exporting the critical minerals, rather we are exporting the prosperity, we are exporting the opportunity. Right? Why? Because see, every the new age technologies, high tech technologies, clean energy technologies, defense technology, automotive technologies, even pharmaceutical companies, they use not the critical minerals directly. They are using the refined product of these critical minerals. Okay, so India is not focusing on the refined products. We are extracting the critical minerals and whatever we have, and we are exporting it. So put it simply, we are simply exporting the rocks. Okay, but if we are able to refine it and then if we are able to export, forget about exporting. Once we refine it, we can use it for our domestic consumption production. Once we refine it, we can also definitely boost that is going to give you a lot of returns than exporting the plain rocks. You can export the refined product. See what happens in petroleum. We are importing the crude petrol. You should know, refined petrol export is the number 1 export in India of all the exports. So we can import the crude critical minerals and we can refine and we can send. That is also an opportunity, right? But first step, what we have to do is we have to improve the refining system inside India. Once we ramp up that, then we can also import raw materials. We can also, like what China does, we can focus on exporting the refined items, right? See, now you might ask, why, sir, everything is going well? Why not? Why we should focus on, bringing refinery structures in India and all? See, we have to bring it. We have no other, choice, because we are in a vulnerable state. What vulnerability? See, number one, I said major critical minerals, we are dependent on imports. Number one, right? We have no other choice. Lithium and all, we have to import. Of course, in Jammu and Kashmir, some proportion has been found, but right now it is not in the extraction stage. So for our immediate consumption, we have to depend on other countries. Forget about that. We have our own resources. That we have to make advantage of it, right? When we are dependent on import, what will happen if there's a supply chain shock? When we are improving our domestic capacity, with that we can manage, right? Number one. And depending on China is not good. Number two. And China and America is engaging in a lot of trade war, so that can also have a serious impact. What China can take a different kind of stand. They can say it's a national policy, strategically important policy. We are stopping exporting the critical minerals to punish America. We will also be punished in the process. We do not know, anything can happen, right? So too much of dependence on the imports, all these puts us in a vulnerable state. If there is a supply chain shock, then that is going to affect a lot of our industries. Don't think these critical minerals is important only for clean energy transition or defense technologies. As I mentioned, for automotive, all the upcoming high-tech technologies, even pharmaceutical companies. So the supply disruption in critical minerals will have a serious impact in all other sectors as well, right? So what we should do? The first thing is, as I mentioned, there are 7 critical minerals where we are having reasonable amount of resources. So we have to focus on refining it. We have to make it highly pure, because all these industries require highly pure critical minerals. Okay, so we should have a proper refinery system where we have to focus. So government should use the money for improving, setting up refineries, for which technologies is required. See, today we have a lot of national institutes of excellence, IITs, which are working on critical minerals. So we have a lot of research laboratories in these institutes of excellence and IITs. Now they have to have a close linkage with the market, with the private players. So whatever content we have in laboratories, that should be quickly translated into products, for which the research laboratories as well as the industry should come together, and quickly we have to translate the research material into products. We have to come up with strong refineries, and this should be supported by good skilled labor force. So we have to go for upskilling, right? So this is something very new area. Refineries in the critical minerals is going to be even more newer. So we have to enhance already those engineers, diploma graduates. We have to expand their skill set. We have to come up with a new certification program to expand their existing skill set, so that they are becoming more useful for operating these refineries. So second thing is, first we have to focus on strengthening our existing strength. Second thing, the research laboratory and the private players collaboration. Third thing is, we have to focus on strengthening the skill development. Fourth thing, look what US does. The US government, they are becoming a buyer for the domestic critical mineral productions. So the private players in America, they are confident that, okay, we will put money, we will refine, so that the government will purchase. That's an assured buyer. Like that. See, we know about minimum support price. So government, they're assured buyers. They buy from the farmers. Like MSP for the crops, we can also have some kind of system where the government can establish a contract with the private players that I will definitely buy your products, your finished item, your refined item. So this might motivate the private players, because immediately we cannot expect other country buyers for our refined product, but our government can do that, like what US does. So that the private players also will be motivated to invest and make some profit. And also what government should do is, they have to maintain some stockpiles of critical minerals. So whenever there is a possibility, government, like how petroleum, we have strategic petroleum reserve. Why we are maintaining the strategic petroleum reserve? Because there can be supply disruption. There can be war, supply disruptions, anything can happen. That should not happen. Our automobile sector had a huge impact during COVID times because of supply chain disruption. Even before COVID in 2018-19 only, there was supply chain disruptions. A lot of semiconductor items were not reaching India, and that affected our automobile sector. Lot of people, they are suffering. Buying the cars and vehicles. They have ordered the car, they have ordered Royal Enfield Bullets. They waited for almost 1 year because of this reason, because of the supply chain disruption. So, like how government is maintaining strategic petroleum reserve, like that the government can maintain a stockpile of critical minerals. And when there is a need in the local market, domestic consumption, the government can only sell that. Like buffer stock, they can maintain some critical minerals, right? And also, government should make use of its diplomatic ties, not just to bring in finance for exploration. So what government right now does is, we have, of course, a good connect with many global partners with respect to critical minerals exploration. Exploration is fine. More than finding new mines, India should focus on developing refineries. So India should prove the point. With our 7 critical minerals, we have to improve our refinery systems, and we have to create highly pure critical substances required for the industries, and show to the world that we are capable of doing that refineries, and create a market for India, use the existing diplomatic channels, so that we can use this as an opportunity. When we are able to prove our refining capacity, this will become an opportunity for selling to the foreign markets. Right? So, the article finishes like this, that the challenge lies not in finding new mining areas for critical minerals, going for geological survey, finding out where is lithium, where is cobalt, okay, is there any possibility of exploration. More than that, today the challenge is focusing on refining, value adding, converting that into usable, industrial usable products. That is where the challenge remains, right? One thing, this will ensure our resilience towards any supply chain disruption. Number 2, it is an economic opportunity, right? India aspires to become Viksit Bharat 2047, to become a developed country. We have to have a strong manufacturing base. What manufacturing? Not the traditional manufacturing. We have to focus on the high-tech technology manufacturing, right? Which is very, very dependent on critical minerals. So, for becoming a developed nation, the above strategies, see, developed nation is one thing, and we are in a vulnerable state. So, to become more resilient and to protect ourselves, to turn the crisis into opportunity, we have to focus on the above suggested steps, right? This is what the author is trying to explain in this article. So, right, I hope you got clarity on the topic what we discussed today. Now, based on our discussion, I will give you a question. There is a pressing need to strengthen India's critical minerals sector, but more focus needs to go into the often overlooked part of the value chain, processing and refining. Discuss. 10-marker question. So, send your answers before time and leave a comment in the YouTube section that you have sent the answer. Alright friends, I will see you tomorrow with another interesting topic. Till then, bye. Take care from Guna Mathivanan.